Everybody, take your toes back, tuck them underneath the pew. We're about to get started. I'm going to read from Genesis 25, 21 through 34. And Isaac prayed to the Lord of his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord granted his prayer. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went in to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, all his body like a hairy cloak, so they called his name Esau. Afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Now once when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field, and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted." Therefore his name was called Edom. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." Esau said, "I am about to die. Of what use is this birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear this to me now." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So Esau was starving. He was empty. He had void inside of him, and he had to fill it. He felt like he was going to die if that void was not filled. And that brings me to my point number one. If you are running on empty, you will do anything just to feel full. How many times have you ever gone to the grocery store on an empty stomach with the mindset of, I need food now? But what do? You fill that cart to the brim. Even though you know you're just hungry, you just need a meal to pass by, but you fill up anyway. And then there's the regret of, why did I eat this? Or why did I have so much of this stuff? I went overboard. It's because you were desperate and you were grabbing anything that you could see. So I had this story told to me one time. How many of us have ever been on a long day's work and driving down the road, you see 100 McDonald's on your way? I know I have. They're all over the place. And then you selfishly just go through the drive-thru right before you get home, and you eat and you scarf down the food, shove the bag underneath the car seat. They don't even know that there's no evidence anywhere. You brush yourself off. You walk into the door and your wife says, "Oh, I'm so glad you're home. Dinner's on the table." You have a choice. You can either sleep on the couch and tell her that you went to McDonald's and ate without the entire family, or you can break open that big bottle of Tums and suffer through it. But you have a choice. It's a decision that you can make. In Matthew 4, 1 through 4, says, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted." Jesus was met with the decision to obey his Father or to give into temptation. Through fasting and prayer, Jesus was spiritually full. He didn't have those desires. He didn't have that void that he would have been able to give into temptation. He was spiritually full, so he was satisfied. He didn't need to have anything that the devil was offering to him. In Romans 5:19, it says, "On the other end of our obedience is a life of blessing and promise. For just as through the disobedience of one man, the many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of the one man, the many will be made righteous. Jesus, through his continued obedience, suffered, bled, and died for our sins. His decision to be obedient affected the eternity of others. What is attached to us, all because we chose Stu over our birthright? What did Esau give away? It says here, when twins Jacob and Esau were born, Esau came first, making him the firstborn. So Esau automatically held the birthright that was due him. A birthright was an honor given to the firstborn, bestowing head of household status and the right to inherit his father's estate. The son with the birthright would receive a double portion. So he has the birthright and the blessing that he's going to receive. And he gave that up. The Lord predicted that this would happen. He was also given God's promise. Jacob was also given God's promise that was given to Abraham, as told in Genesis chapter 17. Abraham was 99 years old when the Lord appeared to him again and said, I am God all-powerful. If you obey me and always do right, I will keep my solemn promise to you and give you more descendants than can be counted. Abram bowed with his face to the ground, and God said, I promise that you will be the father of many nations. That's why I now change your name from Abram to Abraham. I will give you a lot of descendants, and in the future they will become great nations. Some of them will even be kings. Sometimes we have to pick our pain. Sometimes we ask God for a future that we are unwilling to qualify. In the first service, I told a story of when I became an IT director. So before that, I was working at a hospital as an information technology assistant, and I was going through the hospital doing my job. I thought I was doing fantastic. There were only two people above me, the assistant director and the director. And I felt, sitting side by side to the assistant director, that I knew as much as he did and that I could do his job. And so I got a call from the family medical group of 16 doctors, and I went over there, and I quickly found out just how much I didn't know, just how much I relied on the assistant director. So how often do we do that? How often do we ask God for a future, and we say, God, I want this in my life, and I need this in my life, but we're unwilling to qualify for it. We're unwilling to be patient. Don't get impatient with God's timing. There is a reason why God is saying, you can be this, and this is my plan for you. But in order to get to that point, you have to follow these steps. This is my plan for you. There was a story that I had seen online where this child begged this father, she was 12 years old, to drive the car. She begged and begged and begged, and he relented, and he just said, fine, you can drive. And he let her get in, and he was in the passenger side. She wasn't ready for that responsibility. She would be one day, but not at that moment. And she ended up killing somebody. He's not holding things from us, but for us. We can't sit there and say, God, why are you not, and throwing a tantrum, why are you not giving this to me? Why are you not supplying this? We need to understand that our patience is what he's looking for. David served as a shepherd before he was a king. You'll either deal with the pain of being patient or deal with the pain of a bad decision. I was told, I heard this in a sermon, they say you should never make decisions under these terms, which is HALT. And that is hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Which is how I feel every time I'm hungry. So my third point, decisions have the power to define you. How many here have made bad decisions? Every wife put her hand up. How many have made good decisions, husbands? Husbands, you better put your hands up. There's a reason why she put her hand up so quick. You have to understand that you have made decisions in your past or presently that have had a negative impact on your life, that have made you feel as if you've been labeled or defined by those actions. I see that all the time in dealing with youth. I see that all the time on social media. People love to label and define you and put you inside of this box that isn't really who God had in store for you. That wasn't his plan for other people to define who you are. So I have an illustration here, and I hope that this illustration really is something that you can remember. This cylinder represents your life. The white balls in there are good decisions. It looks like you were pretty honest and good for the first part of your life. And then came some tough decisions. Decisions that you didn't really seek the counsel of God. They were impulsive. And then other good decisions. And then it just mounts up, and you can kind of feel like, man, my life is just up and down all the time. And you start to take on the characteristics of how you feel inside. And this is how God sees us. Very transparent. He can see the good, the bad. And just like Jesus, when he was being tempted, he was spiritually full. And so when we are spiritually full, when we go to church, when we accept Jesus and we hear the gospel, and we're mentored and we're discipled, and we share with others, every bit of everything that we felt that defined us no longer defines us. We are simply defined by how Jesus sees us. And if we have his living water inside of us, everything else is just on the surface. It doesn't really matter. And these decisions, good decisions, bad decisions, they do not define who we are. Because we're defined by Christ, and that's how he sees us. Esau gave up what defined him. It cost him his birthright and his blessing. In Romans 5:12 and verse 19, one man's decision, Adam, defined all of humanity, sinners. In one man's decision, Jesus, defined the gift of salvation and redemption for all. And here are some things that I hope that you can put in your mind and say, this is the definition of, this is how I should be defining myself every day. You are his own special possession. You are chosen, handpicked by God who created the universe. You are treasured. You are irreplaceable. You are loved beyond compare. You are worth dying for. You are forgiven. You are his child. You are secured for all eternity. You are set free. You are precious to him. You are set apart. Think about having all of those things, feeling every bit of that. In the New Testament, Esau's choice to sell his birthright is used as an example of ungodliness, a godless person who will put physical desires over spiritual blessings. This is your identity in Christ. This is who you are at the lunch table, where you sometimes sit by yourself. This is who you are when you get a bad grade on a big test. This is who you are when you get a bad grade on when you're going to college, when you didn't make the basketball team, you didn't get your choice of the college. This is who you were or are when you struggle with coworkers. This is who you are when you're so empty. When we are spiritually full, and these bad decisions have no place in the plan God has in store for his glory, those bad decisions disappear from our lives. They do not define who you are. So many times I have to deal with listening to teenagers and I didn't feel qualified for this position to lead the youth. I really didn't. It was a struggle for me. When I was asked, I had to sit on it for a few months. That's a big decision to make. But I don't have to qualify in terms of, am I good enough? I qualify through God. And he released me to be able to make that decision to work with the youth. And I believe that it has had a great impact, not only on their life, but my life. If I had not chosen to do that, where would they be? I don't know. You guys have a decision too, to not come here every Sunday and just sit in a pew and receive. It is our responsibility to go out and reach the people that are lost. I can't imagine. I accepted Jesus at a young age, and I was raised in church. And I don't know what it's like to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 as a non-believer, as somebody who didn't grow up in church. And I can't imagine not having this full of Jesus. And it's our responsibility to share that gospel with others. And what a great opportunity that is. Our obedience matters, and it affects the lives of many others. Thank you.
Sharing the word of the Lord for us. I'm just going to say a few things, too, and bring us into the big picture of all this. That is, talking about these blessings, at the early service we had, of course, the band going and the youth involved in a lot of different other capacities besides also being in the sound booth and so forth. And I made the comment that we often think as the youth of the congregation as the church of the future. And that's fine and that's nice. But they're also the church of now. Right now, they are in Jesus. Right now, they need to be discipled into. Right now, they become a blessing to us. Their gifts and talents are not reserved down the road. Their gifts and talents are in them now. And they're beautiful, they're strong, and they're fascinating. Esau and Jacob had these great things in front of them. They looked at these blessings, and they looked at them for themselves. They saw the blessings of God as something that they would put in their own lives and have it. The blessings that we get from God come to us and go out of us into the lives of others. That's what it means to be a blessing, that God's blessings fill you up and it runs over onto our decisions. It runs over into the lives of other people. God working in us is a beautiful blessing. Now, today's kind of our youth Sunday here at the church, and we've got a really nice cookout meal coming up after this, and you're all invited to come after church to that meal and celebrate. But I always like to bring up one of the youth of our church during Youth Sunday, and just kind of as an example. And I got that person in mind. June, now is the time for you to come on up. Remember, I warned you on this. Come on up. I need a youth from the church. Yeah, you better bring your cane. You may want to hit me. Come on up. You have threatened me. Now, you're going to be an example for us here. Isn't she a beautiful youth of the church? Right? Now, you're going to help me illustrate something, okay? I'm going to take your cane for a second. I won't go far with it, but get ready. I'm going to pose and see what you do in response. Ready? See? Right there, right? You better take your cane back, right? June turned 91 a few months back, right? Okay, I'm going to do one more. Right? What we do with our blessings can come out, or they can come out like this. And I love it when they come out with you. June, she's with our group that puts all our bulletins together every Friday, so I get to meet with her and a bunch of other wonderful people.
May I say something?
Yep. I don't know. We got to be careful who gets the microphone. Yes, you may say something, June.
One Friday when we were working together, and I was talking to him, and I called him Sweetie by mistake. Because someone had said something like, isn't he a sweetie? And he is. But anyway, I said, I guess I officially adopted you as my son because that's what I call my children.
Sweetie. Well, thank you so much, June. You can call me Sweetie anytime you want, as long as I get to call you Mom, right? And I got lots of them there. So God's blessings come out of us into the lives of other people in ways we don't even see it, know it, and understand it. God is working in your life so that his blessings through Jesus on you touch the lives of others with love, care, compassion, mercy, sensitivity. He's working with you, and your identity is always going to be Jesus on the cross, saving us, forgiving us, empowering us, and then sending us into the lives of people that need that care, that love, that compassion, that discipling, that understanding, that graciousness. God has filled his people with the love of Jesus on the cross. It should have been us, and we should have had no resurrection. But Jesus took our spot so that we become Jesus to other people. Not putting up the dukes, but putting out the love that God has given us. Now, there may be some bad decisions that come along the way, but that doesn't change our identity. There may be a lot of good things that we do, but that doesn't change our identity as being forgiven and saved in Jesus Christ. That always stays the same. As we got these two brothers that looked at these blessings, one kind of got hungry and made some bad decisions. The other one manipulated and made some bad decisions with those blessings because they thought they were about themselves. The blessings are about other people. I was thinking about this, and I saw the youth playing in the band and doing the readings and ushering and greeting in different capacities, getting the meal ready. And I thought, they are blessing me more than what I could ever understand. We, the youth, no matter how old we are, we're the youth of the church. And we're a blessing to others now. Now is the time to be who Jesus wants us to be in the lives of others. In some cases, it may be with our mom and dad, with a lot of our youth. In other cases, it may be to our children, grandchildren, neighbors, friends, acquaintances, people at work, people in our neighborhoods. You are a blessing because you belong to Jesus. In his name, amen. The peace that passes all human understanding, keep our hearts and minds focused on